Hello everyone, welcome back to Big Mouth and a very special welcome to the DC movie show. And there's so much to talk about. Last week we had the craziness with Henry Cavill supposedly leaving the DCEU, leaving the role of Superman because he was sacked by Warner Brothers. It was very quickly made abundantly clear that this wasn't exactly true. We don't really know what's going on, but you can forget the Hollywood Reporter article. There's probably a smidge of truth to it, but let me tell you what was absolute nonsense. First of all, no company in their right mind is going to go, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll just make Supergirl films and not bother with Superman anymore. No one's going to do that. What a clever company or any company, you don't have to be smart, would do is, let's introduce Superman and Supergirl, right? Let's have both those films. Why would you not have Superman? Does anyone at Warner Brothers truly believe that Superman can't work for a mainstream audience if he's done properly? Why do you think Walter Hamada's been brought in? So all this has started, right, because of the Witcher thing, because Henry was cast in The Witcher. But not only that, because we're not hearing anything about a Man of Steel sequel. But that's because they're taking their time. They're really thinking about this. They're not rushing it because that Walter Hamada has to make the right decisions. Now, if that decision in the long term is not to have Henry Cavill as the character, hey, I'm fine with that. I love Henry as Superman. And I'm happy for him to continue in the role. So we know we've heard so many things since Walter Hamada's taken over. And last night we saw these on-set pics of the Joker movie. Now, this will define Walter Hamada as a successful DC movie head or a failure, like the rest of them. If this film is his baby, this was one of his first ideas, to kind of have DC movies from other universes, from other Earths. And we know this is going to be labelled as the DC Dark franchise, doing one-off standalone movies. I like the pictures. These are pre-Joker pictures. And there's a close-up of Joaquin Phoenix, actually, and he does look, in the eyes, quite insane already. I'm interested in this movie, and I'm extremely excited about this movie as well, by the way. So I think, look, I know a lot about Walter Hamada because anyone who's going to be involved with a franchise I love so deeply, DC is my world. So I wanted to research the guy. This guy's a genius. If you look at his career, and he's all there on the internet, just research the guy's career. The man is Mr. Successful. Look, Warner Brothers know a successful DC movie franchise can be something special. But what this guy is doing, because he is a genius, he's going to have different films from different universes, from different Earths. And in the end, he will plan to meet them in the middle. So that will be his big team up, if you like. So he's not just going to do a Justice League movie. He's probably going to do a Crisis on Infinite Earths or something. But he's going to do films about these different Earths. So this brings me, actually, to my next point. Is the current DCEU actually from Earth 1? How do we know? How do we know this Superman, this Wonder Woman, this Aquaman, this Flash are from Earth 1? Walter Hamada has been brought in because the DCEU has not been, embraced by the mainstream audience. It's been embraced by an audience, people like me who love those films, but at the end of the day, it's not, we've got to be honest, got to start getting our heads out of our backsides. It's not been embraced by the people the studio need it to be embraced by. And there's a reason for that, because it doesn't appeal to them. So Walter Hamada has been brought in to make this something that everyone wants to watch. Just like what Feige's done with the MCU. Every film is an event and people want to go to see the next chapter. It's very similar to what Lucas did with Star Wars. It doesn't matter what kind of Star Wars film he made, even the prequels. People wouldn't miss those films because it was the next chapter. And this is what Walter Hamada has to do with the DCEU. So that's what really, really excites me, to be honest with you. And I think it's a really good idea to do films about different characters from different universes. So Supergirl could be from a different Earth. She may not necessarily be Henry Cavill's Supergirl. Now, what do I think about, listen, because he's kind of left with this franchise that really doesn't work for the mainstream, he's had to make a decision. He can easily get rid of this by just saying, well, actually, this isn't Earth 1, this is just a random Earth. And then he's got the puzzler. Well, everyone likes Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, so you have to keep her. Ezra Miller is one of the best actors on Warner Brothers books. You've got to keep him. But, you know, quite frankly, you could say this Superman. It's actually quite logical to say this Superman isn't from Earth 1 and this Batman isn't from Earth 1. So we could just find a way to kind of move them aside, kill them off if you want. But there's no question, I think we will see Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill once more. Maybe not totally in their own movie, but a way to move them on. So I think they are being moved on, but not yet. This is all going to have to make sense. I don't think they just want to say, oh, right, here's a new Superman, here's a new Batman, work it out yourselves. I think they want to kind of make it a logical thing. So I think the most logical thing from my mind, and I don't know, is to say that actually the DCEU isn't DC Earth 1. And I think this is the kind of the direction they're going in, so they can actually do something special. So I'm really excited about what's going on because I've researched Hamada, and I know he is a genius. He's brought on a lot of people who've kind of worked with him before at New Line Cinema. So this is really, really exciting. Walter Hamada isn't here because he's Asian. This is not about diversity or anything like this. I know we heard that Warner Media has announced that they've got this kind of blueprint of diversity and fairness, which is great. But this is not why Walter's there. Walter's there on merit. Make no mistake about that. Walter Hamada is as clever as Fake. In fact, Walter Hamada is probably more clever than Fake. And without me being stereotypical, most Asian people are very intelligent people. And again, sounds like a stereotype, sounds a little racist, but I've never met an unintelligent Asian person, whether it's a woman or a man. To be honest with you, even the kids are quite intelligent, compared to the kind of kids I meet on an everyday basis. Again, I hate stereotypes. I like judging people individually, but it's just my experience with Asian people. They're very clever people, and you do want them working for you. They've got it up there, I can tell you that. So Walter Hamada is there on merit. And he's really going to do something. I believe this. I believe he's going to do something special. Now, when this Cavill news came out, Henry Cavill news came out, everyone started again, the DCU's a mess, the DCEU's finished. Yes, eventually, what you saw in those 5 movies is kind of finished. And he's going to find a logical way to do it so it all makes sense. So instead of starting again and rebooting, he's saying, you know what you've been watching? That's not DC Earth 1. And he's even going to make a logical argument within the films to say why they were the way they were. And then we haven't seen DC Earth 1 yet. I don't believe it. And this is what he's going to implement slowly. So Aquaman is still kind of the DCEU. Listen, they had to finish that film off. And what Walter Hamada would have had, because Walter Hamada and James Wan have worked so closely together at New Line Cinema, this is easy. They would have spoken together very quickly and he would have said, look, Walter, what did they get you to do? What did Snyder have you doing? This is the way I want to do it. And they would have had a discussion. He would have had a lot of freedom because they've worked together before to make this a film that people can just enjoy. It had to be made. It had to be released. But there wasn't a similar problem to what they had with Justice League, where they just wanted Snyder out of the way just to make it a certain way and just to get it released. There isn't that problem here. They've barely had any reshoots. Everything in the garden seemed rosy. And let me explain to you what I think Aquaman's going to be. It's going to be, you're going to enjoy what you see. The visuals are going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be a great emotional story. But if I'm right, and Walter Hamada is saying that these are not Earth 1 characters, he then has to make a decision who he keeps. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Very bad manners, I'm really sorry. But basically, he has to, look at that and say, who do I want to keep? And we just discussed that. I think he will keep Momoa. I think he will keep the Flash guy, and I think he will keep Gal Gadot. You wouldn't get rid of Gal Gadot, obviously. It'd be stupid. Everyone loves her as Wonder Woman. So and there you have it. I think Cavill and Affleck are history, but not yet. I think, as I say, you'll see them. They'll get maybe a film together or a film each. Not a total film each, just to show their exit. I don't know how they can do it, what they're going to do, but I'm excited. And I think this is why you haven't heard an announcement about... You're not going to... he may be able to do a Man of Steel sequel where he's been able to give all the fans what they want, but then move Cavill on. I do believe they will recast Superman within maybe the next... I don't know. Listen, it could be very quickly. It could be in the next 5 years. I don't know what they're going to do. We know that Henry's agent said the cape's still in his closet. Yes, the cape's still in his closet because they've got to plot a logical exit for him, just like what I think Matt Reeves is doing for Ben Affleck. That is what's going on here. So very, very interesting stuff, because we've never seen a film franchise that's been in this position and kind of flourish and survive afterwards. So that is going to be very interesting. Can Walter Hamada pull this off? Well, if he can't, nobody can. So it's very exciting. We've also heard that this new Supergirl film will be set in the 70s. I do laugh when people read these rumours and suddenly take them as fact. There's no reason why this can't be true. It will be, if it is set in the DCEU, it would be interesting in a sense to have it there, because then they don't have to deal with Superman. And maybe that's what they want. They don't want to deal with Superman. So it is very, very interesting with that and where it's going to be set. Listen, I love the character of Supergirl. I'm not totally in love with the Supergirl TV show, because I think they're just interested in identity politics and representation rather than telling a good... mostly Supergirl on that show just whines about the latest boyfriend or kind of puts down a man an episode. So it's, for me, I was very excited. Melissa Benoist is a great actor. She does a great job as the character, but creatively, that show just isn't good enough. They've got a good budget. They do great special effects. It looks great, and the show is all wrong. And that's a big shame for me. So a big opportunity to do an awesome Supergirl on the big screen. And I think if they get the right people, they will. Now, Reed Marino, who has directed quite a bit of TV and has just done a film with Peter Dinklage and Elle Fanning, was rumoured, but she said that's a lie. She hasn't spoken to anyone, but she'd love to do it. And then there was big rumours about Elle Fanning being Supergirl. Now, no one's approached Elle Fanning, but what I would say about Elle, she would be a unique, fantastic Supergirl. First of all, she's been around the circuit as a young child. She's even a better performer now. And, Elle Fanning would give that character gravitas. It would not be the same as the TV show. It would be, I'm Smiley and I'm Supergirl. There'll be depth, there'll be layers, which is what we want. We want more female superhero characters, but we want them to be as layered and as rich as the guys. Otherwise, don't do it, because if you're just going to bring these girls in, have their chests hanging out, and pretend you're doing something for diversity, you're not. You're insulting women, and that's not what we want. We don't want any gender, any race insulted. We want, if you're going to talk about representation and boast about representation, do it properly or don't do it at all. And I believe Elle Fanning would be perfection as Supergirl. It would be difficult to get Elle. It would. She's on a kind of road where she's going to make unique and not mainstream films. So to grab her, but then again, Joaquin Phoenix was doing unique, non-mainstream films. And he's going to do the Joker movie, which isn't really going to be a mainstream film, but could make mainstream money. If that film makes over 600 million, Warner Brothers are going to be very happy, because that film's barely costing them a penny. There's barely any CG. It's just stunt work and acting. So when you've got a film like that, everything's a profit. For example, if Justice League cost what the Joker movie is going to cost, the $650 they made, well, it would have been a party for Warner Brothers, even though they wanted a couple of billion. But that film was never going to make a couple of billion because it just simply wasn't that type of film because of the mess, the mistakes that were made, beforehand. Implementing Christopher Nolan to have this Godfather role from the Man of Steel movie, and then him implementing Snyder to take control of the whole universe, and then that didn't work out for the mainstream audience. And then when they saw what he did with Justice League, which again was very dark, very brutal, maybe I would have loved it. I like his other two films, so maybe I would have loved his Justice League. But they couldn't carry on. They're a studio. They need the DC movies to make mainstream money, and they need to appeal to girls, to boys, to men, to women, everyone. So it can't just appeal to people like me and kind of the Zack Snyder obsessives. You're a fan of Zack Snyder, that's great. I am too, but we can't be selfish here. The DC movie universe needs to be for the many and not for the few. And I genuinely believe that, even though I love the DCEU. So I want to talk about my Instagram. My Instagram is very different to your everyday Instagram. I do what I do on here. I talk about movies, TV, pop culture, issues. I sometimes even dance in my boxer shorts. I even do a rap in my boxer shorts on my Instagram stories. It really is a different type of Instagram, and it's called Movies, TV, Football Mad, or Mickey Meanus. Now, Mickey Meanus, Mickey, M for Mike, Min for Nathan, AS, right? So please, if you can, give my Instagram a follow, because it's the same. Basically, I treat it like YouTube. The 1 minute videos are similar to what I do on here. But I prefer doing the videos on there because they're minute videos. They're very quickly uploaded. Like this video, this will take me nearly 3 or 4 hours to upload. So it's a pain in the arse. But I love coming onto YouTube. I'm not really getting many people watching my videos, but I'm going to persevere because I know a few people do them. So on, even if one person gets something out of my videos, it's really worth it for me. So please comment down below. Please subscribe as well. And please tell me what you think. Do you think that Walter Hamada, can he marginalise the DCEU by saying it's not Earth 1 and then eventually giving us Earth 1 and giving us different Earths and then having them meet in one kind of collaborative film? I think that would be awesome. And I think probably that's what they're going to do. And that will make the DC film universe something all of a sudden that everyone's talking about in a positive aspect. But do me a favour. If you want to watch a video about DC, don't bother watching Grace Randolph because she's just there for the clicks. It's obvious. She says she's a Batman fan, but for me, she's very negative and there's no point in... I personally cannot watch her videos anymore because I can't watch any YouTuber's videos that I don't trust. And I don't trust that Grace Randolph is a genuine DC fan, and I want to follow people who love the universe. Yes, sometimes if they're biased, I don't care, but I'd rather watch someone who has a passion for it than someone who has got an axe to grind or, it's just in it for the clicks. Personally, if I talk about DC, I'm not going to do a video for clicks. I'm going to do a video because I get something out of it, and I want to impart my wisdom to you. Now, my opinions are not correct opinions. They're just my opinions. But I think we can meet in the middle and have conversations with the comments and all of that. And come and find me on Instagram. Movies, TV, Football Mad. As I say, I talk about lots of stuff, including football, including my team, Manchester United. I hope you enjoyed the video. There'll be more. Have a lovely day. I'm in Cyprus. If you're in England, gutted.